Would you, right, I've got a bit of a loaded question. If your child doesn't support the same football club as you, are you upset?
Big problem.
Big problem, he says. Who's your dad support?
It's the sound, mate.
I'm going to have to sit and look at my child and say, I'm going to disagree with you.
If you want to live in the same roof as I do, you have to fucking support Valencia, mate.
Yeah. So
I'm already quite troubled because my brother supports Barcelona. So.
Oh God.
Yes.
Oh, I thought that as a Valencian resident as well.
Yeah.
To support,
That's it.
That's
You're going to be having a bit of a dispute in the next coming weeks, aren't you?
Yeah.
What I do not understand is how this little fucker supports Chelsea.
No, my Chelsea supporting came around because of a certain Harry.
Harry got you supporting the famous Chelsea.
Yeah. I
remember you two stood on like the playground and you were like, you got to support Chelsea. And this was like when we didn't really.
You remember this?
Yeah.
You were like, you got to support Chelsea. And I was like, oh, maybe next week. And then I think I went home, right? And I was like, Mum, what football club should I support or something? And then she was like, you got to support Tottenham. And then I came into school the next day. I was like, no, I'm Tottenham fan.
Wow.
But I could have been a Chelsea fan.
It's funny because I feel like
I could have enjoyed winning the Champions League.
There's a lot of people that I won't name because some of their names are so particular that I only know one of these names, and he started off as a Chelsea fan and then went to a Tottenham fan. I'm quite lucky I didn't fall into the trap, really.
What?
Supporting Tottenham because of my dad. I think I got into football before he kind of had a chance. Do you know what I mean? I think he was like standing off it a bit, not forcing me to get into football. Like if I liked it, I liked it, whatever. And I think I found out I liked it at school and didn't really come home and say it. So before he got a chance to say who he supported.
You're already full on Chelsea.
Yeah. I'd already discussed it at school.
But that's what I mean. That's why I was like, I don't know what football team I support. Maybe next week it'll be Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then that was when I then decided. And it's stuck with me ever since. How fantastic. You'd army.
Was it worth it for the 2008 League Cup?
Fuck you, mate. I was 11 years old.
I still can't believe in the Champions League final you lasted like 40 seconds before conceding a penalty. So, a question. What's your favourite sea creature, Sento?
Sea creature. I've never actually stopped and had a little thought about that. But I think I would say the first creature that pops into my mind is a turtle.
Oh, mate.
Tortoise or turtle? What do you prefer, tortoise or turtle?
Turtle. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Because of Finding Nemo?
I guess so. It's the first thing that pops into my mind when thinking about
It's so totally awesome.
Yeah.
It's quite deceiving, actually, though, because if I'm going off that film, I quite fancy meeting the big ray, the stingray guy.
Oh, the stingray.
He sings. He sings when he swims. Yeah. But like stingrays did Steve Irwin in, so
they did.
True.
I don't fancy meeting one of them, to be honest. So
Stevie I.
Steve Irwin is an absolute legend. I mean, I've indulged in his snake and reptile videos many a time.
His children are living his legacy on.
Yeah.
Definitely. What about you, Ham? I want to know, actually. You always come up with very interesting.
No, I mean, this one will resonate with George. I feel like he's going to know what it is. I had an email that related to this one. So
you said email. I heard,
yes,
I heard email, mate.
It's got 8 arms.
Mine is an octopus.
Yeah. Octopus, yeah, that one's
I can argue a little bit of a squid, but octopus. I mean, they're clever fuckers as well. The octopus.
Yeah, they are.
But born in October, Oct.
Octopus. Yeah.
Octopus.
Makes a lot of sense. I don't think I have a favourite sea creature, so I think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about that. I just came up with one.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to come up with one quickly, probably have to go with a seahorse. I think seahorses are pretty mad, aren't they? Look at their mouths.
They are
the first one that popped into my head.
Looks like a trumpet.
Weird creatures, isn't it?
Yeah,
weird.
And the little tails. And the men have the babies, mate. I mean, that's mad, isn't it?
I don't gender stereotype.
Right. Anyway, first of all, congratulations to Javi Gracia. The word of Javi Gracia.
I'm actually pretty happy for him. I'm pretty happy that he managed to get a job at Leeds, go back to the Premier League, because, I mean, I think he's a good coach. He's definitely not a top coach, but I think it's pretty decent. And he just came to Valencia and he got light and slapped in the fucking face, basically. Yeah, and pretty much every coach that has passed through Valencia these last 9 years, which has been 12, 12 coaches in 9 years, they've pretty much destroyed their careers because it's just so bad. But it's not their fault. That's the thing. It's just not their fault.
Gary Neville being one.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
He was not a coach, right? He can be excluded from the list, I guess.
No. Well, welcome all who are listening to episode 17. Episode 17 of the PixelPlayers podcast, the home of pixel football and the home of nostalgia. Please sift through our collections at OpenSea/collection/PixelPlayer NFT and /PixelKits NFT for the kit collections. If you want a little bit of a visit our memory lane, really. Today, I think maybe we should start with introducing ourselves. My name is George, or at FeatherNovaBall on Twitter.
My name is Sento, or at @Ratpinut_ on Twitter.
My name's Sam, or Skipper Talk on Twitter.
Ooh, nice. Rolls off the tongue nicely, doesn't it? Get involved with all our links below. At PixelPlayers NFT on Twitter, at PixelPlayers NFT on Instagram, as we just labelled ourselves as well. Sento.
Yeah, I just wanna say something beforehand, and that's, I don't understand why you chose the seahorse as your sea creature, mate. Why not the starfish?
He idolizes over the fact that the men give birth.
I think the starfish look good in a fish tank, don't they? But I just can't imagine them. I mean, they do, like, they're on the rocks, aren't they, in the sea? But on a fish tank, they're a different ball game, aren't they? Different.
I'm just saying this because you call yourself starfish in this call session.
Do you know what a chocolate starfish is?
Remember?
Oh man, I know what a chocolate starfish is.
Sento, if Sento had to describe what one was.
Well, if you've got to describe,
that's probably something horrible that I'm not aware of.
if you've got to describe a chocolate starfish, I mean, it's exactly what you imagine it to be, Sento.
Is it inedible, Sam?
Is it inedible?
Is it edible?
So you don't even know what it is, Sam.
Some people eat it. Not me.
Oh, mate, I don't even want to guess.
Especially not ones like that. I don't
want to guess. What is it?
Right, well, to save Sento and throw him a rope to get out of this little pit, shall we start with Great British Service Station or Unfamiliar Footballer? The nation's favourite.
How's that going to help with this situation, though?
It's going to move us on.
Yes, that does help me, though. Let's go for the... I want the service station, please. Or the footballer.
Whatever it is. He has got things.
I've got to redo it because I've just got my keyboard mixed up with my laptop keyboard, and I've just sent the half the answer.
That's great.
So you two just quickly amongst yourselves discuss
chocolate starfishes.
I don't even know what it is. I don't know what to discuss, but you're going to put me in this pit again. I thought we were going to the service station. I think of a starfish made of chocolate. That's what I think of. Obviously, it's not that.
Yeah, okay, but I wouldn't I wouldn't necessarily treat it as such. I've just sent you the definition, so I'll leave you to read that.
You actually did.
I'll leave you to read that amongst yourself.
Oh yeah, Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
Urban Dictionary. I'm gonna read it out loud. A chocolate starfish refers to the appearance of the butthole.
Beep.
When the buttocks are spread out, the anus looks like a chocolate starfish.
Ding, ding,
And
ding.
the reference they give is, obviously she's never bleached her chocolate starfish. Okay.
And back to
You know, they say you
back
learn
to-
everything every day, something every day, right? So I
Every
definitely
day's a
learned
school
something.
day,
I don't
yeah.
know if it's very useful though, but I've
you're
learned
definitely
something.
going to reuse that.
Yeah, probably.
Someone's going to say it to you one day, Sento, and you'll know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll know
lick
exactly
my
what they're
chocolate
proposing.
starfish, you asshole.
Yeah. Right. Well, great British footballer, great British service station or unfamiliar footballer.
All right.
I've amended the wrongs, and the word we are playing with today and debating around whether it's a service station or an unfamiliar footballer is harness.
Harness. I
Harness.
think there's a place called Harness.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very.
And we'll revisit this, obviously, the answer at the end of the show. So,
Although
It
I've
could be
also heard
something.
many players named Harness. But yeah, we'll guess at the end of the show, like always.
Harness.
Yeah.
yeah.
Get Scottish vibes.
Well, not players, but people, I guess. I mean, yeah.
And I think there's nowhere else to start actually today, Sento. You better start doing some dual warm-ups because you're going to be, we're going to be winding you up here for a few minutes of rambling probably on Valencia's complete disaster of a season. Valencia are in a serious relegation battle now, losing 1-0 last night. It's Tuesday now. We've chosen to record the day after because it was such a significant evening for Sento. We gave him the evening off. In his comeback today, Getafe have beaten Valencia 1-0.
And let's not forget, Getafe were below Valencia in 19th spot at the beginning of the game.
And they've now leapfrogged Valencia.
They've now leapfrogged into what, 16th?
So the situation was that we were 18th, Getafe 19th, 1 point away. Quite an important game, obviously, when you're in that positions. Like you're basically playing against another team in relegation positions. So it's very important. Like, I'm actually depressed, mate. I'm actually fucking depressed.
Jesus, mate, it's only football.
Nah, mate, like Valencia, I don't know, it's been part of my life for a really long time. Well, basically my entire life.
Can you sense the change of atmosphere around the city and amongst the people?
I mean, the city...
Like compared to when the football team are doing well?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's right now, people are completely mad about all this situation, all the fans and everything. Well, not all the fans. There's still like that little group of people that are, well, they're just brainless. And for me, there's no other word. I'm sorry, mate. Well, I don't know how can you be in favor of all this shit? Like, well, whatever. Yeah, the atmosphere it's horrible. The people, it's horrible. I went into a Twitter Spaces actually right after the game. There's like this platform that was formed called Libertad and Valencia, VSF, Valencia Club de Fútbol. That basically, well, they're fighting against Peter Lim, right? Take away Valencia from Peter Lim's hands in some way or another. And the other ones making the protests and all that. And after the games, like one of the founders or one of the top people, I think it's one of the founders, if I'm not mistaken, Raul. He makes a podcast, Twitter Spaces, called El Reco every single time. And man, I mean, he lets a lot of people talk. It's not just him. And the people are just devastated, same as me. Like, the general vibe is we're gonna disappear, and not just getting relegated. No, like completely disappear the club. That's the vibe currently right now. Because relegation, like many people say, yeah, I mean, if you get relegated, maybe you can force Peter Lim to sell the club. Not just because of the bad image you're giving, but also, I don't know, because the club can go to shit, right? But it's relegation really salvation or doom for us? Like, that's what I always think about, because what if it happens to other, like, big-ish clubs that was before in Spain, like Malaga or Real Zaragoza or Deportivo La Coruña? They were decent teams back then. They were pretty decent teams back then, and they were bought by brainless people, same as like Peter Lim. They got relegated and they've never went up. Malaga has been in second division for a really long time. I'm not sure if they reach lower heights than that, but Real Zaragoza has, and definitely Deportivo La Coruña has. That's the most extreme case. Like, will it be salvation? Because the vibes that it's giving me right now is we're going to second division and we're not climbing back.
I mean,
what...
it's going to be interesting if you do go down. Heaven forbid. How does the squad change? Do certain players leave straight away to transfer back to the Liga?
Well, basically, happens? Just so you understand. Well, firstly, this is one of the shit things about Peter Lim. Like, for example, in the past 4 years, the club valuation, well, not the club, sorry, the team valuation, so the players, has gone down from 480 million euros to 150 this season in 4 years. Yeah. Most, there's four, 5 or 6, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 5. Yeah, 5 key players right now in the team. I mean, key players, which wouldn't be a key player in a normal situation for Valencia, definitely, which are on loan. So they're going to go away, and they're not going to come back. Definitely, if we're going to, even more if we're going to second division. And then, apart from all of this, bear in mind that if we go to second division, that means that the club would be 60 million in deficit every single year, just because we're not getting La Liga money. So that means that just to be able to sustain the club as it is right now, Peter Lim will have to put 60 million from his pocket every single year, just to keep the club working. That's it. So obviously, we'll be forced to sell a lot of pies. Well, Peter Lim, sorry, what?
He's got a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, so he's not going to be. I mean, unless he's going to just say, right, I need to obviously focus on Valencia here because this isn't going to plan.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's a businessman, so I guess he obviously doesn't want to lose this investment. And I guess, and I really hope, he rather sell losing money than trying to make a profit, or just because of his ego, whatever, just keeping the club and ruining it forever, which is something I really fear, yeah. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that even though I think he would rather sell than make a loss, it is what you said. Like, he has a lot of fingers in many pies. So even if he just loses Valencia and Valencia ceases to exist, it wouldn't be like a massive blow to him. I guess it will be a decent blow, but that's about it. I mean, he can definitely keep
living.
What
about players like Madvarashvili, the goalkeeper, very coveted, Gaia?
All the big players will definitely go if we go to second division. Maybe not Gaia. Maybe not Gaia, because Gaia is very... he's a very Valencianista. He's a very big Valencianista.
But Gaia would stay with you even if you went down.
I don't know. He stayed after all this, but maybe if we go down, he will realize that the club has no salvation, even though he loves it. And maybe at that point we'll, I don't know.
If you look at the La Liga table and you look at the bottom and sort of the teams in or out of form or whatever, Valencia are the only team. Oh, Valencia and Osasuna are the only teams who are winless in 5. And Osasuna are mid-table, and Valencia are the only team who have lost the last 5, which is
not last 5, last 6. It's the first time in our history that we've lost 6 games in a row. The only time we've lost 5, the only time we lost 5, which was the previous record, was on our relegation year in 1986. The only time we got relegated.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the table, like I say, the form table, it looks like Valencia, as it's this stage of the year, in the calendar year as well, approaching spring now. Valencia need to break this duck fast. But when you look at Valencia's fixture list coming up, it's not looking like they're going to break the run.
And it's not like already. That's another concern of mine. Like he is a Valencia legend. We love him. I still love him. But he has not proven himself as a coach. Is he ready to turn around this situation? We're in a very big trouble right now. Like the next 4 games, like we just lost against our direct competitor, which was
relegation candidates.
Which was Getafe. And the next 4 games for Valencia are Real Sociedad at home, Barcelona away.
Real Sociedad, Barcelona,
Osasuna at home, and Atletico Madrid away.
Yeah.
4 very tough games. Like Barcelona and Atletico Madrid, I can already say bye-bye. Real Sociedad, I cannot really see myself winning to Real Sociedad at all. Osasuna would be the only maybe.
And then you've got Rayo Vallecano.
Rayo Vallecano. And after that, Real Madrid, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
And then after that, Almeria.
Maybe after that, Real Madrid.
Sevilla.
What is Real Madrid then?
Elche, Valladolid, Cadiz, Villarreal, Celta Vigo, and then Real Madrid. Real Madrid in the end of May, 21st of May.
So in order for Valencia to be safe from relegation, we have to win 7 from the next 16 games. Yeah?
Difficult.
And I just see 8 which are winnable with a very big uncertainty. Like, I don't even think we can win it, Like, maybe as the team is right now, and also plus added, like all the the entire Valencia team, which is the youngest from La Liga, by the way, are all like 19, 20, 21-year-olds. All of them. Like, apart from Gaia, which is 27, Cavani, 35, Samu Castillejo, 26, and Paulista, 33, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he? He's been around a while. Right?
Yeah. Paulista has been out pretty much the entire season until like a month or 2 ago. Gaia just got injured this game against Getafe. Cavani got injured the game previous to that for at least a month. And Sam Castillejo is also injured. I don't know. We don't know what it is. But he just...
Not looking good.
Yeah, he fell to the floor and he got out of the stadium. Apparently after the game, and this is after the game, he came out of the stadium in crutches and his ankle was quite swollen.
Yeah.
So they
probably won't play the next game then.
Yeah, at least they say that at least it's quite a harsh. What is the name? No, it's not sprain. Esguince. I don't know esguince in English. Esguince is the word. If there's any Spanish speaking, so esguince is the word. So they say at least a couple of weeks out. So all of our veterans are out, and we
experience,
have to, So we have to depend on all the youngsters to turn around a situation of being in the pit after none of them they've been ever in the pit. They have no experience. They're highly demotivated. And all of that summed to Baraja, which doesn't have this experience yet, although I love him as a Valencia legend, but I'm not sure if he's fit to for the job to turn this situation around. I really don't think he is. I hope he is, because he will be a hero for Valencia even more than he is right now. But
And this is the biggest kind of sort of moment in terms of relegation in Valencia's history since 1986, is it? 1985?
86 it was.
Yeah.
86 is when we got relegated.
Yeah, so it's not looking good, is it? That's worrying. It sounds and looks worrying.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of fans are really pissed off. There's going to be another protest the next game at home, where they're going to stay outside. Which, by the way, all the people that you saw inside the stadium, the previous protest, it was not half empty. It was a little bit less people than that, but there was quite a very few people like in there. And we found out later on that Valencia gifted a lot of tickets out just to fill in the stadium. And it didn't look empty. Yeah.
Nice. I respect that.
Yeah, I mean, it's real snide behaviour, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's going to be another protest next game at home.
Oh, and I remember the last protest, was it week before last, something, when the players went in the secret entrance or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the on the other side of the stadium. Yeah.
To avoid the crowds.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, that was the club who demanded it, not the players. And actually, people are demanding the players to go through, because we have nothing against the players. You know, like they're not. It's not their fault that the administration is completely dull.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know how to manage things at all. It's not just it's not their fault. Although they're very demotivated, though, and they could be pushing more. We definitely don't have a team to be in relegation positions, in my opinion. Not a team for Europe positions either, but not to be in this position at all. It's just a mix of things like demotivation and stuff like that. But the point I was going to say is that, the protest, they're going to do the protest again. And after this last game, I've been seeing a lot of fans around Twitter Spaces and Twitter in general that are actually demanding for like an invasion of the like where the VIPs are, like president and all that, and even actually like getting the seats out of the ground and throwing them into the box and all that. Yeah. Stay in the stadium even after the game, so to force them to call the police and take us all of us out.
Crikey!
I don't know.
Well,
bring a lot of balloons and like inflate them and throw them into the pitch, making them completely unplayable.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's not against our team; it's against the properties. Still, we know it does harm the team. I know it. It's a very difficult situation because the people that are actually against all this stuff that are, and I say /pro Pure League, are the ones that allocate that we are in relegation positions and we should be with the team and all that, like giving them support. And I do get that. I know it's harsh for them too, but at the same time, there's no way to keep both. Like there's no way in pushing one way without harming the other,
Yeah.
Plus added that Mestalla has turned into a cemetery. Like it's a graveyard that like there's no cheering. If you go to a game in Mestalla, it's not like before. Before you felt like the entire stadium was roaring, mate. And right now it's silent. It's like you're watching an opera. No one says anything.
Yeah.
You just complain a little bit if the refs does something wrong. And not much. Like not even complain after the games because they did it wrong or against Peter Lim or whatever. Like it's completely dead. So if you're gonna have a dead stadium, I'd rather have it completely empty,
Well, Real Sociedad on Saturday, 8 o'clock. Another big game, a home game.
My pants, mate. I'm shitting my pants about that one.
Because if you lose that, you're obviously now in uncharted territory, losing 6 or 7 in a row, whatever.
Yeah.
So
these last the first protest they did a week ago. I couldn't go because of some family stuff that was going on. But this next one, I'm definitely gonna go if I can. I hope nothing pops up that turns me away from it. I really want to go.
Well,
I think that's what needs to happen to not only the people that usually go to the stadium to watch the games, to be outside protesting, the 40,000, 45,000. But apart from that, the rest of fans that follow Valencia through the TV that maybe doesn't really buy tickets that many times and all that, still go. Not only having 30,000 people outside, I want to have 90,000, 100,000, completely collapse the city too, that would make into all the world news.
Yeah.
And that would really affect Peter Lim's image. That's what we want. That's how we need to force him out of the club because he doesn't want to sell. That's the problem. If he was inclined to sell the club, it would be okay. Yeah, cool. Take your time. If it's half a year or a year, it makes sense if you want to find the right buyer. But he says straight out, no, I don't want to sell the club. I'm 100% involved into it. Blah blah blah. Obviously,
as committed as when he arrived is the.
That's what they always say. That's what they always say, mate. It's like a bugged radio cassette thing that just repeats the same phrase every single time, mate.
Well, moving on from one positive then, one negative to another negative. Moving from Cento's team to mine, Chelsea, we lost 1-0 to Southampton. The game I didn't think losing to them was possible. After all of the talk last week, people saying, "Oh, if we lose, he should be sacked," and all that. I thought, we're not going to lose anyway, and even if we are going to lose, he's not going to be sacked. That was my opinion anyway. Watched the game, awful first half. You could tell straight away that we're going to be in for another one of those afternoons. And then Azpilicueta just dives out, sort of charges out of his position at right back, takes down Stuart Armstrong on the edge of the box, and straight away I'm sat there thinking, here we go. You could, every sort of content and video I've watched of anyone who watched the game, we all knew it was coming. It was easy to predict what was going to happen next. James Ward-Prowse, he couldn't have put the ball in a better position, to strike, and wasn't surprised to see it nestled in the bottom corner. Kepa immediately kicking the post in frustration, and all of Azpilicueta's experience sort of melted away in that moment there, taking down a player where, it's about to be half time as well. He's running away from goal, actually. Silly challenge to make. And now Chelsea are in an awful position where the fan base is heavily divided. I haven't seen this sort of division since the Sarri days. And I actually think now there are less people in support of Potter than there was in support of Sarri. So you could argue this is worse.
I don't know how you can be in support of Potter.
Well, for me, obviously, I'm in support of the man personally. Yeah, I'd like to see him do well.
Don't let your emotions get in the way.
I'd love him to prove everyone wrong. I do think there's something there with Potter. Like when you can say, he's not won anything and that. Well, the sort of teams he's taken over and where he's taken them is something to take note of. The team in Sweden, I think he took hold of them when they were in the 3rd division. He got them promoted to the top division for the first time in their career. He won them their first ever trophy. He took them into Europa League and he beat Arsenal at the Emirates. So there are reasons to say Potter, he's no sort of novice.
It sounds like Wrexham needs to sign him up.
Well, you could. The thing is,
not Chelsea.
I do. Part of me that is optimistic and looks at it like that, and the other part of me looks and says Todd Burley doesn't have a clue what he's doing, and Graham Potter was the hot flavour of the month. When Brighton were flying high at the start of the season, and he's just and the worrying thing is we can't get rid of him because not only have they sacked Tuchel, which I think. A lot of the fan base are very upset by it. And this weekend just gone was the first time I sat down and thought that was a big mistake, sacking Tuchel. First time
that. Yeah.
And
Definitely.
I just think what the club have done in paying 22 million to Brighton to get Potter, and paying for his backroom staff, the trainers, people in technical roles like scouting roles are from Brighton. We've literally plucked like half of Brighton's entire sort of staff. So it's not just Graham. I don't think you can get rid of Graham anymore. I mean, you can in maybe a year, but right now it would look really bad on the ownership. It would make them look like they really don't. I mean, we are all sat here going, do they know what they're doing? We don't know. So, some of the signings were good in January, but if they get rid of Potter now, I think you can straight up sign, seal, delivered. They don't have a clue what they're doing. So I think that's why they're keeping hold of him, almost in arrogance,
Could be.
to protect
Do
their
you
own
think?
teams.
I have a question. Do you reckon that if Potter gets sacked and they offered it back to Tuchel would come back?
I don't know. I think maybe at the time Tuchel went, the whole structure of the club was different. Like since then, Todd's brought in a lot of new people above Tuchel, which I think Tuchel's problem was he didn't want to get involved in transfers. He didn't want to get involved in boardroom stuff. He just wanted to be on the training field and go to the stadium. That was it. So I think now with the structure we've got, maybe he would be sort of appealed to it. But is it embarrassing? It's probably embarrassing for him to come back. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to keep hold of Potter. I think he's going to be given. I kind of think we have to. I think we're going to have to chew down this bitter pill and fucking swallow it. I think we're going to have to see out to the summer, clear out the squad, which is way too big, give Graham a good chance with a crop of players that he wants to keep, and then we can evaluate. If we get to Christmas this year and we are still a mess, I think you've got to get rid. But we've got to give him the summer, I think.
Mate, you can't get much worse than losing to rock bottom Southampton.
Managerless, rock bottom, hadn't kept a clean sheet in over 25 games.
They beat you and they're still bottom.
Yeah. They've also done the double on us this season. They beat us at home and away.
Jesus.
A third of their points have come against Chelsea.
Oh, Jesus. That is rough.
And I'm worried as well because
the saving grace to an extent is, I mean, I was with a Southampton fan today who went to the game and he said they look like a different team, Southampton. Yeah. They came out and they wanted to win the ball.
Got to give them credit, yeah.
You can play a Chelsea who are a bit battered at the moment, but you've still got to throw your body in front of the ball, and that's what Southampton did.
And that Roman Lavia midfielder, I think, had a very good game, and I think he's going to be off somewhere in the summer, 100%. Yeah. Come from Man City's academy, didn't he? And he unbelievable. He actually made Enzo Fernandez look a bit silly a couple of times. That's how sort of
Enzo's still naive as well.
Yeah.
It's
remember. Yeah. But Ruben Selles,
that's the Southampton manager, right?
His name sounds natural to me, but I can't figure out why.
Like a proper manager.
It sounds like I've heard his name somewhere else before.
Sounds like Ruben Neves.
Ruben Neves, yeah, I guess so. But Selles sounds.
I was actually, I shouldn't be saying this, but I was actually quite happy for him. Like watching what it meant to him at full time. Like, he looks like he really wants the job. And I think they should give it to him. Like, I think Southampton looked good, like a good team, but Chelsea were a mess. And when you're watching the second half, I don't know if you watched Match of the Day, Sam, or if Sento caught the highlights, but some of the chances we were missing towards the end, you just got to be up. At some point, it's not Graham's fault. You can't tell Sterling how to score a header from 5 yards out. It should be.
And Kepa, what happened with Kepa?
In what terms?
He had a head injury.
Azpilicueta.
Sorry, Azpilicueta.
Yeah, quite a nasty one. If you were watching again the highlights, you can actually hear the contact of the boot on the head. So it looked quite serious, but he's all right.
Is he all right? Is he playing next game?
Yeah, I don't think he'll play next week, but he's up and he's basically out of hospital and he's walking around and that.
Fair enough.
I wanna say something about something you said at the very beginning about if it was a mistake of hiring Graham Potter, of maybe it was like the hot topic of the summer, what you said. Yeah. Because Brighton started so well and so on. I had that same thought myself. I'm not even following Chelsea Twitter at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I think it was yesterday or the day before. And the reason of this is because they hired Graham, and Chelsea's not doing good at all, with a way better team than Brighton, whilst Brighton is keeping the same rhythm.
Yeah.
So it was just like a good moment of form of the entire, team.
Yeah, the team were in a good moment. Yeah,
or just not Potter's managing.
But people would like to think that it's Potter that created that atmosphere. He's supposed to be emotionally intelligent. He's supposed to have a master's in whatever. He's meant to have a master's in something to do with emotional stuff. And I do feel bad for him because I think he's taken a lot of slack for apparently not being angry enough. But I believe that he's the sort of guy that's clever enough to know that that's not going to do him any good in the media to be angry and flapping his arms around. And
I saw a video, and I'm sure you probably have too, George, of the Chelsea players walking out of the tunnel.
Yeah. And just Azpilicueta is the only one who half-heartedly kind of clapped and said, "Let's go."
It just looked a bit emotionless, didn't it?
And on that topic, actually, there's also an interview that broke this week that was recorded on a radio show in Dubai with John Obi Mikel, who you may remember from Chelsea team of yesteryear. And he was sort of commenting on the situation and saying, back in his day when you had the likes of Michael Ballack, Lampard, Drogba, Ivanovic, Ashley Cole, Essien, Terry, Cech, Carvalho, there were full-on fights in training most weeks, and every day was an ego, a battle of egos. You had these big characters who all wanted to win. They all wanted to be in the team on the Saturday. And now it just looked like Sam said, it looks all a bit too passive. A few players maybe just a bit happy to be there rather than going to get their hands dirty and stuff. So it's interesting to see. We can blame Potter for the bad atmosphere. You can blame players. You could blame the fact that these players have been brought in January and they're young and they're from different leagues and we've got to integrate them in slowly, and it was never going to click instantly. We can look at the fact Potter struggled to score at Brighton, which is what's happening now. We're getting all this XG that we should be scoring 2-3 goals a game, but we're not scoring any, and that's what happened at Brighton. But then some were blaming that on Neil Maupay. So there's so many things flying around all our Chelsea fans' heads. But what I'm not enjoying. I don't really get too involved in the Chelsea Twitter really, but those that are involved are taking a lot of flack. It's a toxic place right now. A lot of abuse going around.
When you were talking about the egos, I think they are important. If I think about Tottenham's squad, the people I imagine like that. We've got Romero, Højbjerg,
Kane.
Kane, Kane a bit more controlled.
Son's a bit of a hothead.
Son's a bit of a hothead, yeah. But in reality, you look at Man City playing Arsenal, a massive game. Back in the day, you would expect some near close broken legs.
Tackles flying
in Arsenal, but a game of that caliber and of that size, you wouldn't necessarily expect like friendly chats between Odegaard, Haaland, Zinchenko popping up, because they're all like bit of buddies.
There's an element of competition there in a way.
I think football has been like, I don't know. It has lost some feeling into it, right?
It's changed, right?
Before players, I felt they were way more compromised with the team. Like they really felt they were from like Valencia or Chelsea or Spurs.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like a job. I'm here. Maybe 3 years later, I'm somewhere else.
Social media.
I'm going to do a good job, but that's about it.
Just get your head down and get on with the
football. I don't think they necessarily think that. I think that's the culture that has like installed into football.
And they're the best players, though. The ones that just keep, Harry Kane doesn't.
Yeah, Harry Kane is an exemplary example when you think about it. Yeah. He is how you would want everyone to be. That must be hard, but at the same time, you can't have a Roy Keane in the world anymore. You can't have a Graham Souness.
No.
Yeah. Or a Gattuso.
Or a Gattuso.
You
look at Sergio Ramos. How he stayed as top flight as he did and got so many reds.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, you still have Casemiro as that kind of guy. He doesn't really get into like fights or anything like that, but he's harsh.
Yeah. But what Ten Hag has done to United is what you are hoping Potter's going to do to Chelsea. Ten Hag went for a little spell, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. A very little spell compared to this, though.
Yeah, true. But
I mean, this is what I'm thinking though. You know, we've got the state we're in now. Chelsea is so comparable to where Arsenal were when they were losing to Burnley, and they turned it around in one game. And I know it very well because it was against Chelsea. It was a Boxing Day fixture. I remember sitting down on the sofa, very excited. Chelsea are playing a depleted Arsenal. You know, a very low confident Arsenal, and they beat us 3-1. And we've got Tottenham on Sunday. So if we beat Tottenham on Sunday, could galvanise the season.
You've got to remember, it appears to you they turned it around in one game. They have done a lot of shit behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta has been, trying
getting rid of the bad eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's put the atmosphere into the Emirates.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the same with Ten Hag, like we've been saying. He got rid of Ronaldo, and Old Trafford's now looking like a happy place again. Maguire doesn't get a sniff, so
Potter can bring it round.
I think he can. It's just he needs to summon it. I mean, the fact that the squad is so big, I think you actually have to cut him a bit of slack and say, he's got his work cut out trying to keep them all happy. They're not just young players; these are top professionals. Ziyech, Pulisic, Aubameyang.
The positive is you're not going to lose anything this season. You're not getting into Champions League.
The thing is, we got the Champions League second leg against Dortmund next week, I think.
Yeah.
If we're out of that, which we're 1-0 down already, if we get knocked out of that, we're out of everything. We're out of FA Cup, we're out of Capital One Cup, whatever it's called these days.
VALENCIA.
Yeah. So welcome 1 game a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
And maybe we do need a season out of Europe. Maybe because that forces you to trim the squad down. You can't go into a season with no Europe with a big squad. It doesn't work. And this is what happened to Arsenal, is that they had to trim the squad down, got rid of the bad eggs, as Ten Hag has got rid of Ronaldo. Now, I don't know who the bad eggs are, but I'm guessing it's players like Ziyech, who, I don't blame him, he's not been played enough. He's probably just frustrated. But
even if you get into Champions again, I think Chelsea really needs like some changes in many positions. Definitely. Because there's been players, not because they're bad, but because they're quite installed. In Chelsea. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like,
I hear Mason Mount. Mason Mount could be on the way out.
That's another topic in itself, really. Like, that's I mean, I love him, but why is he not? He should have accepted the deal in the summer. Apparently, he's been difficult to negotiate a new deal over the autumn, and now there's talks that if he's not going to accept in the summer, which I don't know why he wouldn't, Liverpool are lurking. Which you can see that he's such a Klopp player, isn't he? He's a proper Klopp player for me, and I'm telling you now, if he goes to Liverpool, he bangs. And all the Chelsea fans that are like, I don't know if do you know about a lot of Chelsea fans on Twitter, the amount of hate Mount gets? You aware of this?
No,
I'm aware of this since your Twitter post, like today or yesterday. I can't remember. But
yeah. But the amount is, and it seems to be like all young kids or people in like far-flung places in the world who don't even really have that much invested in the club. Just the amount of abuse that Mount gets is ridiculous.
What would you do that? I mean, what's the reason? What do they say?
He's played a ridiculous amount of football over the last 3 years. And he's obviously having just an off season. He needs to be rested. He needs to have sort of a bit of time. And you've seen it happen to Rashford. And look at Rashford now. Now.
Well, I think Havertz is playing a lot worse than Mount.
Yeah, and I think Havertz has probably got to be off in the summer.
Oh yeah, he definitely needs to be off.
I mean, he can change.
For me, Mount could stay max on loan. I wouldn't sell Mount.
No, I wouldn't sell Mount. I wouldn't loan Mount either. I think he's got to stay. But Havertz, I'd love Havertz again to prove me wrong in the last leg of the season. Start coming out with some big goals, score on Sunday.
What you don't want, mate, is you don't want him to, bang in for like 3 or 4 games in a row and then go back to this.
Yeah, I know.
You just got to move on. You can't.
I always get the sense that Havertz has never been 100% happy as well.
Yeah. He never looks it.
Yeah, he's one of those, isn't he? He kind of plays with a bit of a. Never looks like he's enjoying the football. What a smile! Doesn't play with a smile on his face. Anyway,
the Germans.
Maybe a good segue into moving on to Sam's team is just by saying, Chelsea and Tottenham do meet on Sunday. What are your thoughts, Sam? What you say? Are you going into this really confident? Are you nervous that this is quite a football narrative, like to Chelsea to turn up and suddenly beat Spurs?
No, absolutely. You got to go into this confident. I mean, look, you can't.
Are you licking your lips?
100%, mate. 100%. You cannot go into this game after Chelsea have just lost 1-0 to Southampton.
Couldn't hit a bundle with a banjo.
Tottenham have just beaten West Ham. You know, it's going to be a good game. But, you know, Tottenham have their own problems. You know, Kulusevski, Son and Kane weren't the front three that we got excited about at the beginning of the season. They're
definitely a bit more, I think.
Yeah, I genuinely just think we're in a World Cup hangover.
A lot of teams probably are, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
I think we're not really acknowledging the fact that we've had I wouldn't even say mid-season. We've had after 10 games of the Premier League or
I think it's 14, was it? Was it 14?
Yeah, leagues starting. I mean, we've had such an intense few weeks for certain players.
It's been kind of a roller coaster, right? Because at the beginning, you were fighting for the first position with Arsenal, like the first 6-8 weeks, then went down, then went up a little bit back again.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a.
But, you know, I'm just thinking about like Richarlison. Richarlison, I mean, he scored against Marseille, which feels like ages ago. He scored 2, got all emotional. You know, he's not scoring in the Premier League. Kulusevski is not
out of form.
Out of form. I'd say out of form. You know, Son, we all know he's out of form.
He has been for a while, right, Son?
And he has been, yeah. I mean, Harry Kane is our rock to an extent. But now we've got no Bentancur. He's got an ACL out. So our midfield is a bit shaky. Yeah. You know, we've still got Eric Dyer in centre back.
That's a good point now, you know, because this Chelsea Spurs game, a lot of games are won and lost in midfield. So you got Højbjerg. Who else is playing in midfield? Skip.
So you know who a player, Skip and Højbjerg, but a player who has always won a Chelsea-Tottenham game in midfield has been Kante.
Yeah,
he's always been so impeccable for Chelsea.
Yeah,
and he has won the Chelsea game many a time.
Yeah. One thing as well, going on back to Chelsea quickly on the leaders in the dressing room and the lack of sort of, I guess, fighting spirit. Maybe, you know, that we've lost Rudiger. Rudiger was a big influence in that dressing room.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Big leader.
He was
obviously Silva is, but he's like 39 now, and so.
Did Chelsea let him go, or did you actually try to renew his contract?
I think we tried to renew, but I think in the end it turned out to be like kind of a thing of respect. Like, you know, I think he's like 30, Rudiger, and he wanted to go to Madrid. You know, it's the biggest club in the world. Let him do it, sort of thing. We won the Champions League with him. We'd won the Europa League with him.
But Thiago Silva, one of the best centre backs in the world.
Yeah, hands down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all. That's as far as leaders go. I mean, you may have Azpilicueta, but not at the moment.
No. Yeah.
And he's a bit getting worse for wear too.
It's going to be tasty on Sunday with Spurs, I think. Very tasty.
Mount could turn into a leader. He needs to turn around.
Reece James is a good.
He's still young though. I mean, he's very young. Isn't he like 19, something like that?
No. I think Mount's about 23.
Yeah.
You're
below us. You're below us, John.
Yeah.
But Reece, there's a good bit of Reece James when we drew against West Ham last week, 1-1. Emerson scored the West Ham goal, who also, you know, he played for Chelsea before. And at the end of the game, Emerson kind of went up to James to almost be like, oh, yeah, how have you been? But James just walked straight past, you know, just dropped points.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Not happy. Yeah, that's what I like. That's a bit of leadership material that, you know, you don't care. Just drop points.
You're not about the talk. You can talk to each other later.
Yeah, drop me a DM. Yeah.
Drop me a DM, yeah. But it's tough.
Are you two guys then excited about this next game?
Versus
Chelsea?
I'm intrigued.
You actually should be quite excited.
I think for me, intrigued is the word.
I'm going to enjoy the game, put it that way. You know.
Are you going to watch it live together, both of you?
Believe so.
Got tickets.
Believe so. So,
Chelsea side or Spurs side?
Behind enemy lines.
Oh,
Spurs tickets.
Oh, you're going to deal with that. Oh, yes.
A few years ago, I went to Chelsea, Tottenham at Stamford Bridge, and I sat in the Chelsea end and listened to many abuse be said.
Did you win with your Spurs t-shirt?
No.
Oh, mate.
Absolutely not.
That's what I'm telling George. George, you should go to the game with your Chelsea shirt. You should.
Now, what would happen in Spain if you went to
assert dominance, mate. Assert dominance.
power move?
So no, there's a certain dominance and then a stupidity, mate.
You have to be strong. You have to be strong.
You want to enjoy the game.
You have to face your enemy.
Yeah, I don't want to be sat there having panic attacks about people
getting slapped on the back of the head.
Yeah.
Tell you what though, have you ever been, George? Have you been?
Not been to, and that you know what? On another topic, and instead of intrigued, I'm very much looking forward to seeing this footballing facility.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I've heard from many people that it is a level above most, well, anywhere really.
I mean, Stamford Bridge is quite old as well, and I mean, White Hart Lane was, and it's just a different level. I mean, the Amex is quite nice.
I've been there. The Amex is right. Wembley, I always find Wembley impressive because of the size,
because of the escalators.
The Emirates, and I felt the Emirates was nothing special, but it was okay. It was good, but nothing special. So I'm expecting a lot actually. Yeah.
From an architect's point of view as well.
Yeah. But many a story coming out about the amount of money pumped into it and the technology and the pitch that slides out and the filling up the pints from the bottom and whatever. Many things. The cheese room.
The cheese room. It's the biggest brewery in London as well. Did you know that?
Is it?
It is the biggest brewery because it brews its own beer.
Maybe I have to try some. How much is it for a pint? £8 probably.
Oh, no, I don't think that much.
£8? Jesus.
I think
that sounds perch prices.
But anyway, I mean, so we're gonna have no Conte again, I believe.
Yeah. So what's happened to him? Obviously, the gauntlet has been whipped out, but he came back for Leicester, and now he's gone off again, has he?
Yeah. So he came back, but he stayed in Italy after the AC Milan game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, understandable to be fair, but many Tottenham fans think it's going to be his last. Yeah, we're never going to see him
back in London.
Maybe back in London. Everyone likes a bit of Oxford Street, but yeah, not in a Tottenham Hotspur managerial position.
Do you think so?
I don't know, to be honest, Sento. I mean, I don't know who we replace him with.
I've seen Pochettino is in.
We've got fairy tales about Pochettino.
Pochettino. Go back to Pochettino.
I know Pochettino's in London. He's playing golf with Ozzy Ardiles.
Yeah. In a Spurs jacket as well. If I want to make it any more obvious.
Yeah. He's around and about, and
And how are you feeling about this? Are you like a bit warm to it, or are you?
Well, I'm hearing whispers. Southampton want him back, so we've got to fight.
You should definitely go for Gattuso, mate.
Personally, I mean, I don't think it's a great appointment. You should always step forward, not necessarily back. It's just like going back to Tuchel. Is that really what you want?
Who would you rather have, Pochettino or Tuchel? Then?
Pochettino.
Good.
Really?
Tuchel's quiet.
No, I'll take that. I think I'm jealous.
There's a video of Tuchel saying, or being asked a question like, "Would you ever coach Spurs?" And that's like,
yeah, well,
okay.
He probably got asked that, but yeah, he definitely got asked that because of Mourinho and Conte, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, what would you expect him to say as a Chelsea fan anyway, a Chelsea manager anyway? But I'd rather take Poch over him, to be fair. But there seems to be a shortage of high-class managers at the moment.
I think there's a very few bit outside there, mate. Like Bielsa, I think Bielsa would be a good option.
Oh, mate, we're not going Bielsa.
Why not?
Stand up or sit down, mate.
Why not, mate?
Stand up or sit down. Stop squatting everywhere.
What about?
Because that's what he does, isn't it? He squats on the side.
What about Benitez?
Benitez.
I feel like he's done the rounds a bit.
He's won the Champions League. He's won the Liga.
Yeah, but yeah.
Actually, which one would be? I think for me, I said this
Ten
before.
Hag, mate. I'd love Ten Hag.
I mean, but someone.
I think Spurs could go after De Zerbi.
Do you think?
The one I was going to propose, and I think I said this. I'm not sure if in an episode or not, but I definitely told you this one. Luis Enrique. I think Luis Enrique would be fit.
Where's he?
He doesn't
know
in playing. In coaching.
Don't know, mate. The Weird.
Why not? I mean, he's a top coach. Pretty decent.
The Spanish are a bit weird.
Is he ready though? I mean, Spanish coaches are winning the Premier League, mate. I think
You are right.
Spanish
Do you know what?
coach,
Right.
Lopetegui probably would have been a good shout for Spurs.
Yes, it would. Yeah, it
But
would.
he's at Wolves, so there you go.
I mean, who is there though? There isn't. There isn't.
I think there might be quite a few managers doing a bit of a merry-go-round because I mean, unless Conte takes time out, I don't know where he's going to eye up. I think there could be a bit of a merry-go-round. Zidane's out of work, but for me, Zidane just looks like a quick,
I think he needs
in the pan kind of manager, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Not a project manager.
He needs more experience, in my opinion. I don't think he has really found his thing in coaching.
Zidane would be a great manager for Man City.
I think so.
Or PSG or something like that. PSG maybe.
Yeah,
no,
but
PSG definitely.
Because he could go into City for like 2-3 years, win them the Champions League, get out. Happy days. I could see that happening. And then they get another manager long term.
Well, I think Mourinho is sort of whispering about leaving Roma, but he's not going to go back to Spurs, is he? Although there has been a lot of Chelsea fans wanting back at Chelsea, actually, for a third stint. So.
Well, you think about why he left Tottenham. Why did he leave Tottenham?
Dinosaur tactics, wasn't it?
No. Super League.
Oh, was it?
Super League announcement came out. He left the next day.
Oh, crikey.
So, I mean, he didn't really leave.
I can't remember what's going on for me at that point, but
he didn't really leave on bad terms, did he?
Would you have him back then?
Would I have him back? Probably not. Again, he's done the rounds a bit, and he's a bit like.
Would you want a bit of a fresh name?
You what? Yeah, you want a Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah,
but not.
What about Frank de Boer? He doesn't have a club. Or de Boer, or whatever you pronounce it.
He was.
For a Spaniard, is Boer.
I think he's considered the worst manager in Premier League history.
Is it?
Yeah, because he managed Crystal Palace for 6 games and lost 6 games, and I don't think they scored a single goal.
Everyone's done that, haven't they?
I didn't know that.
Did Vieira do that? Vieira?
I didn't know that.
I don't know. I think they quite like Vieira, don't they?
Yeah, 5 games, not 6. Just looked it up.
But Spurs are in the top 4 right now. So let's just say that Chelsea just turn up. They get that slice of luck they've been looking for, a deflection, 1-0. Chelsea get the win. Where are Spurs then? Because Spurs were, I feel like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, in the mud. Like Spurs fans were deeply unhappy. But now you're in top 4. So what happens if you lose on Sunday?
Well, we lose on Sunday. We've still got a game in hand over Newcastle.
But are they just saying, oh, classic Tottenham, blah, blah, blah? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course, everyone is.
Yeah.
Maybe not Tottenham fans, but, we'll have bottled top 4, apparently.
Well, from going to beating Man City 1 week to losing 4-1 to Leicester, to then beating West Ham, to then losing to Chelsea.
You forgot an AC Milan loss in the middle there.
AC Milan loss in Europe. So, yeah. Top 4, you have to be a brave man to call top 4 this season, wouldn't you?
I see us getting it.
You think?
I can see us getting it, mate.
I think Liverpool, United, City, Arsenal.
You think Liverpool?
Yeah, I think Liverpool. Darwin just scored, and Gakpo just scored his first goal, isn't he? So if they both now catch on,
well, we'll see. We'll see in 10 minutes how they play in Champions League.
Yeah, good point. Real Madrid, Liverpool in 10 minutes.
That's interesting. Last year's final.
Yeah, royalty, European royalty. Makes the hair stand up in the back of the neck. Thought of
that. A Gareth Bale bicycle kick.
Yeah. And talking about Karius might have to play in the League Cup final for Newcastle. Because
this actually? Oh, sorry. Go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Because
Nick Pope
got a red card. But have you heard? Is that because what's his name? Dubravka. He can get a medal for Man United.
Can he?
Yeah, he's played enough League Cup games for Man United that he'll get a medal if Man United win. Now I assume that makes him cup tied, but I'm not sure cup tied's a thing in The
I
League
mean,
Cup.
I don't know how it works. Because I thought that we wouldn't be able to play João Felix, Mudryk, or Enzo Fernandez because they've already played in the Champions League. But apparently, you can sign them up now. I don't know. I think it might have changed. I think the rules might have changed.
But Dubravka will be entitled to a a League Cup medal if Man United win.
I am praying Newcastle win that. I'd actually quite like to see Newcastle win. I think their first trophy in over like, is it like 30 years or something? I don't know. 20 years ago. I think they won the FA Cup at some point.
40, mate.
Is it?
They haven't been in the final for 40 years or something.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Lots to a minute. What is that? Is that this weekend?
It is, yeah, because the Man United game's been postponed. The last major trophy for Newcastle was 1955.
Well, yeah, they will be well happy if they manage.
I'm praying. I think it'd be great for them.
Obviously, other than when they got relegated. Came back.
Yeah. But if Man United get their hands on that, this is the they've basically just built some proper good foundations with Erik ten Hag, then, haven't they?
Yeah, and I mean, if they're going for a club sale
as well, they're looking.
They could look very excited.
Man United fans must be very excited. Yeah,
I'll be
proper cloud nine, not cloud ninths. But yeah, well, just to mention quick. I mean, we could quickly discuss the Arsenal City game from last week. What a game! Me and Sam absolutely loving it. Sento in the group chat, not so much, but
I will also like to do some honorable mention before we end about Barcelona.
Okay.
Well, you guys know what I want to talk about.
Arsenal got beat 3-1 by City last week, putting City on top of the league for the first time in a few months. And then we basically saw it switch back around this weekend. City dropped points to Forest, and Arsenal came from behind against Villa, against Emery.
Jorginho winner.
Jorginho, who hadn't kicked a ball towards goal in the last 2 years I've watched him play.
Jorginho outside the box, on the bobble, mate, on the bobble.
But then again, you say that's what good managers do. They make players feel like they give them the confidence.
Smashes it against the crossbar.
Yeah.
Martinez dives. He misses it. Smacks Martinez on the back of the head in the goal. Happy day.
Goal.
And then I mean, they get a late fourth after Martinez goes up for a corner
against the will of Emery. Emery was fuming with that.
Was he?
See that? Yeah. Emery said no, don't go. And Martinez said, "Fuck you," basically.
I've got World Cup.
Yeah. But I think Emery in the post-match press conference said, he won't be doing that again. So who knows? But before we hand over to Sento's honourable mention, my last honourable mention is the Bundesliga title race. Which
Bundesliga title race?
The Bundesliga title race. If you have a
Union Berlin.
Yeah.
Who's it? Union Berlin.
Union Berlin, Dortmund, and Bayern. But if you look at the top 5 teams, they're separated. Top 5 are separated by 4 points.
Yes, it's probably the most interesting league right now in Europe.
Yeah,
I think so. At least of the top leagues.
And the top 3 are all on exactly the same points. Is that right?
Yeah, tied, tongue-tied.
Mental.
And Schalke seems like it's going back to second division. Schalke not picking up, right? Like they were a massive club back then.
Yeah, they had Neuer. They sold Neuer to Bayern.
Yeah,
Neuer, and Özil to.
They were a massive club.
They had Lewis Holtby.
Yeah.
Özil to.
They were an important club back then. They were always a club contending for champions positions. And like 5, 6, 7 years ago, they completely disappeared. Something similar to Valencia, isn't it?
It was the first Champions League game I ever went to was Chelsea against Schalke. So, yeah. But yeah, the Bundesliga title race, what an appetizer that is for any football fans who don't normally get tucked into the Bundesliga. If you are, a football fan, and you maybe not planning to watch any Bundesliga, top 5 teams separated by 4 points. So, very exciting. Sento, what was your honourable mention?
Barcelona. It's a disgrace. Barcelona and La Liga. A fucking disgrace. Barcelona has paid referees since 2003 up until 2018. And that's what we know. Over 5.5 million years, if I'm not mistaken, was the sun. And La Liga just said, oh yeah, it's been more than 3 years, so it's prescribed. We can do anything against Barcelona. And basically, a day or two ago,
we've got a 2009 Champions League semi-final amidst there somewhere as well.
Yeah. And 1 or 2 days ago, the referee vice president, who was the one they were mainly paying, send well, in Spain it's called burofax. I don't know if it's called the same thing in England. You know burofax?
Or fax. Fax machine.
You know fax machine, yeah, but a burofax is basically when you send something official, like an official notice of something. Like, for example, I'm going to demand you because of whatever. Or I'm going to, I don't know, the bank sends you a burofax saying, you're going to lose your house because you've not paid, like the mortgage for 6 months.
Okay. Official document.
Yeah, it's basically an official document. So he sent like a burofax to Barcelona, which everyone can read. Everyone obviously is private, but you have to hand it in an office. The guy in the office can read it when they scan and all that. The people that get it afterwards can read it too. So it's not very private. And it got leaked. And basically they threatened Barcelona. Well, he threatened Barcelona to unveil everything if they don't reach some sort of agreement. So even what we know is not everything to it. Like Valencia, Valencia's in dipshit, I was going to say, which it is. But Barcelona are in dipshit. Well, they are not, because if they're fucking Barcelona, they get away with everything.
They're always in deep shit, apparently.
But they are a fucking shitty club. They're doing this, and fans are still proud of it. I'm amazed of it. It's a disgrace. I think it's a disgrace to football. It's a disgrace to La Liga, and it's definitely a disgrace to Barcelona.
So is this being taken to court?
No, it won't.
No. Barcelona are like one of the biggest criminal organizations in the world, aren't
they? Yeah. Well, it might be taken to court for maybe some criminal stuff, but like people involved in it. You know what I mean? Like the president back then in Barcelona who allowed this or did this, basically. He might be the one in trouble, but not Barcelona as a club, because it's been more than 3 years, and that's the law in La Liga.
Yeah. Well, Barcelona at dirty tricks again. I wonder if they can pull the lever.
Yeah, we've basically found out that Barcelona has been buying referees for 15 seasons, 15 years, 1-5, and they're getting away with it.
But I think everyone's just sort of gone, oh god, didn't know that already. You know what I mean? It's just gone.
Shock.
Yeah. Actually, they kind of done that.
Yeah, because some of the game. We've mentioned the Chelsea Barcelona semi-final, and there's many more games, where they've been given the golden handshake by the referee. So
a lot of things started to make sense after finding this, right?
Yeah. All things sort of starting to align, starting to connect the dots.
Yeah.
But before we leave you this evening, we are to revisit Great British Service Station or Unfamiliar Football, and the name was Harness.
Yes.
The name was Harness.
Okay, now did we say it was the loser who said first or the winner who said first?
The loser. So who was the loser? I think Senso was the loser.
I was the loser. That's why.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go for Service Station. For me, I don't know. I think I've heard of it for some reason.
Mate, you will not have heard of it.
And what way were you going to swing, Sam? Were you going to go with that, or were you going
to? I think it's like a Scottish name, so it's probably going to be like Jimmy Harness.
Okay, yeah, probably that's why. Maybe that's because of my Scottish days. Like
Jimmy Harness. He plays right mid. He plays Andy Robertson.
Wow.
Maybe that's why, mate. I don't know, man. I also followed a little bit of Scottish league, so maybe that's why I ring the bell. I don't know, man. I don't know, but
hit us up.
Service Station.
I'm wondering whether the place Inverness is swinging your thoughts to Harness.
Inverness, yes, obviously.
Inverness, Harness.
Yeah, up north is like one of the
You got
northern
Loch Ness
cities.
Loch Ness, yeah.
There's all sorts
Anyway,
with the
Inverness.
Nesses.
I was going to go for a road trip to Inverness, and then I couldn't because there was a really bad weather. No one could.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
What we're looking at today, ladies and gentlemen, Harness. Yeah. Harness is the number 11 midfielder for Ipswich Town Football Club, recently signed in the summer from Portsmouth FC.
Beautiful.
That's why I knew he was a footballer. I knew him, mate. I knew it. Jesus.
Marcus Harness.
Marcus Harness.
Midfielder
Beautiful.
for Ipswich.
And I think this is because of my FIFA, mate. I think I've heard it because of
Ed
FIFA.
Sheeran's beloved team, may I add.
Jesus,
Ed Sheeran is a massive Ipswich fan.
Magnificent.
There you go, Sento. You've lost again. See you next week.
Okay.
We'd get a leaderboard going for this, probably. Also, maybe just a quick end one. Many thanks to our good friend Bergenheim. Bergenheim submitted a kit that was his favourite, and we're going to grant him the wish of pixelating it for him. So the Real Madrid 1998 kit, Bergenheim, I'll put up on screen now. I'm unaware if you watched the podcast, but I will be tagging you in a video of this with the Real Madrid kit on the screen. And I'll also provide you with a background if you so wish to use. So thanks very much, Bergenheim. Appreciate the support.
Thank you,
Bergenheim.
Yes. Before he goes, mate, I don't know if you've already done your Spanish trip, but if you've done it, I hope it all went well.
And if you haven't, drop Sento a line.
Yeah, and if you haven't, yes. Say something. I can give you more tips if you want.
Probably watching Real Madrid right now.
Yes, he probably he is.
Let's get that on, boys. Let's get that on.
And we'll leave it at that. We'll see you next week after Chelsea, Tottenham, and Valencia play Real Sociedad. It's going to be another tasty one, gents. Bellissimo.
Bye-bye.
Send me, baby, Vincento.
Segunda, my lord, segunda.
Lovely. Thank you.
Peter Lim to bring the Valencia down. Peter Lim to bring the Valencia
down. A segunda.
Oh, Peter.
That's the Spanish equivalent, basically.
I'm trying to say it in the Joe Franco Zola to bring the West Ham down. To bring
that was such a good chant when it was relevant, wasn't it?
When it was being shouted to Kane.
Yeah, the old famous WWE wrestler.
Peter Lim to bring the Valencia down, to bring the Valencia.
Arsenal.
Typical Arsenal fan, isn't it? Gloriana.
I am actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a Glory.
Arsenal fan.